Hello, everyone. Welcome to another lesson. Today, we will practice working on situations. And that's how it works. First, I put down the situation. I illustrate it, what the situation is. Then, after that, you can pause the video. You can pause the video and solve this situation yourself. And of course, you can post everything in the comments. So you can post your solution. You can keep it to yourself. You can share it with your friends. You can do with it whatever you want. And of course, feel free to share it in the comments too. Then you resume the video and we work on this situation together. That is, I explain each and every step that is taken in order to solve this situation, and so you see a different alternative solution that maybe coincides with your own or maybe differs, and so then you can compare. And if you and someone else post, the more people post the better. You all can compare all the variants of different solutions, and the more variants there are, you understand that it is the better because there are better chances to find the, so to say, golden middle and an ideal solution for this situation. And so today's situation is as follows. Let's consider a factory worker works like a slave, wants to be famous, rich, do what they want. So this is the situation. Now you can pause the video and give a solution for this factory worker. What should they do? What's the plan? All right, no matter how long your pause is, for me, it is time to deliver the variant of the lesson itself. And so there are first 2 points, point 1 and point 2, and they're connected together. So first of all, it is psychological change, and secondly, he needs to become forgiving. So they need to become forgiving. So forgiveness is important, and they must delete hatred from their heart. They must delete hatred from their heart completely, just a complete change. So now let's consider these first 2 points that are, just like I said, connected together. So the first point, the psychological change. What's the psychological change? So you see that this factory worker, who works, and so like this phrase, like a slave. What does this mean? That he actually, so this is just like his thoughts. So he thinks like that. They think like that. They think like they are slaves, but they have great wish of becoming famous, rich, and be capable of doing whatever. So just a jump. They want to jump. And so like they see it in their view that their current situation is slavery and their desirable situation is no limit in anything. Everything unlimited and everlasting. Complete freedom. So just a jump, really. Something radical. You see. But in order this change to become possible, of course, a lot of things should be done. But first of all, what should be changed first of all? First of all, the very psychology should be changed, the way of thinking, because a slave can never be famous, rich, and do whatever. A slave can never do that. So first of all, whatever the situation is, this slave should change their way of the slavery thinking into a different way of thinking, into a free man thinking. They should start thinking like they're free. They should understand that they actually can do what they want. Because what are slaves? Slaves cannot have wishes. They cannot have actions. They are just tools in the hands of other people. This is only a factory worker, so he's free. He's just a worker. The only disadvantage is that it's probably a hard job and it's harder than they can accomplish. And uh, so most likely that the salary does not correspond to the job that is actually done. So very low salary and very hard work. Of course, there is the unsatisfaction. Of course, there can now be satisfaction in this situation, and this is why they their way of thinking becomes unnatural, so to say, very unnatural and sort of aggressive even. So first of all, they should understand. First of all, they should understand that they are actually free and everything is up to them, and it is up to them to change this situation. So they should start thinking like free men, whatever. Maybe it is very, very difficult and very hard and almost impossible for them to change the situation. But in order to try to change the situation, if they really want to, they need to make 100% decision, and they need to start thinking like free men and change the slavery way of thinking into the free man way of thinking. The next thing about these 2 points, about these 2 points, what is it? About the psychological change. Now that they know they are free, they should continue working on themselves and developing. They should evolve. It's pretty clear, because if they don't evolve, it will be impossible for them to reach that goal, because those people who are famous, rich, and free in their actions are only developed and intellectual people. This is why not only meditation, and they will have to get used to meditation, by the way, not only meditation, but they will have to start their actual intellectual development. We don't know what their education is. We only know they're factory worker. But why are they factory worker? Probably it's just life situation. Probably they already have a great education, some great education. Maybe they graduated from college. Who knows? We don't know this. But even if it's so, while being a worker and while being so overworked, they probably lost part of their educational skill, and so now they need to refresh this educational skill and to refresh their knowledge. So intellectual development, this is obvious. And of course, they should do a lot of meditation about becoming psychologically prepared for a different job. They should be psychologically prepared for it, because while they are psychologically still factory workers, of course they are unable to do any other job. This is they're not psychological suitable for it, because they don't think like people of other jobs. They think like factory workers because, for example, they work for a long time. So because it was so deeply in their subconsciousness. So this is the main reason. They need to change their subconsciousness in order to change. And this is very elaborate job. This is very elaborate psychological job that needs lots of skill and lots of psychological effort from a person. So when they are doing this, they are becoming still closer to their desired situation. So this is the first step, the psychological change. And the second point, very important one. And of course, it is interconnected with the first one because it is also on a deep psychological level. On a deep psychological level. So they need to become forgiving, and they must delete hatred from their heart. Undoubtedly, if their psychology in their current situation is the psychology of a slave, it is it is just connected with with sort of inability to forgive and with lots of hatred in their heart towards those who they think to blame in that situation, who they call their masters or whatever, or even to people who are high, who they, for example, envy, or who they're jealous with whatever. So any situation, because it's just interconnected again. So slavery, well, it's either it's either desperation or hatred, something like that. And it's we can see in films or in books when slaves actually are very positive and loving, but well, what's inside is just psychological. So it seems to me, I might be mistaken, but it seems to me that it's very rare actually. And so, and besides, it's not the real slave, but it's a factory worker that is paid for their job. They are paid for their job. Only the salary is not enough. This is what is the main point. And so when there is such a misfortune, and of course, so they are not slaves, but they think themselves slave. So it is naturally already negativity, and this is how we see that they really need this forgiving skill. They really need this forgiving skill because they are in one situation where unfortunate one, of course, but it's still a different situation as they describe it from their point of view, very different situation. And they need to become forgiving, and they must delete hatred from their heart. So they might not speak about it, but still it's very likely that it is there. This is why it's very important for them to understand that unless they do it, they learn that skill, their happiness will be impossible. And why is this is so important? This second point, it's even more important than the first one. I can't say what of the points is more difficult, but the second one is still more important. And this is why it's perfectly clear, if there is at least the slightest point of hatred in their heart and not enough forgiving skill in them, when they start reaching that point, reaching their goal of becoming famous, becoming rich, and doing whatever they want, what's the greatest temptation? To revenge, right? To revenge. And what is revenge? Revenge means unfortunate, because as soon as they start acting not towards their goal, not focusing the goal of the wish that they're having right now, but changing their goal into the goal of the revenge. Very unfortunate one. Never think of it. None of you just ever think of it. It's too bad. It's very bad. It's worse than bad. It's the worst thing in the world that can happen. And if they do that, it will be a catastrophe. They will lose everything. They will lose all their achievements. No matter how little they are still precious because they achieved their achievements. But if they cling to this temptation, you see, everything is ruined and is ruined forever. If they fall like this, there will be no way to get up. There will be no way to get up. This is what is essential for them to understand forever. And so they must understand this importance, and they should master their skill, their forgiving skill to a genius level. Yeah, like this, to almost perfection. People say that perfection does not exist, so they should aim at perfection and reach the last possible level of it. So close to perfection, almost perfect. They must become almost perfect at their forgiving skill. Like that, only like that, and no other way, no other way. Otherwise, they won't reach what they want. And complete deletion of hatred. Otherwise, this hatred will ruin them. Not those who they hate, but themselves, unfortunately. Then, what else? They should clearly answer the question, What are their wishes? They shouldn't waste themselves away. So fame, richness, and freedom of actions. What will they do with their money? To just throw it away? To bathe in champagne? To sleep on the moon? You know, doing such things that do not actually benefit personality development and do not actually benefit the world in any way. So it's a waste. It's a waste of richness and it's a waste of personality. So if they do not know what they need this money for, they are not ready for reaching their goal, because when they have that sum, they should be confident about what they use it for, and they must use it wisely. This is why it is important for them to apply to their wishes. They should apply to their wishes. That's what is important. Very important. And as soon as their wishes are reasonable, as soon as they've built their positive, enslaved, free personality, so they're ready. They became they became a new person. They became a new person. So this is when they're actually ready for their next step. But there needs to be one more preparational step that also refers to stages 1 and 2. And this is also a very important thing. This is also a very important thing. This is reverse engineering goals. So they need a plan. They definitely need a plan in order to move forward for stages 1 and 2 up to stages 3 and the next ones. They need a plan, a step-by-step plan. And it is only them that can actually plan it. So they need to understand how much they want, by what period they want it, and what they want to spend it for. And so they need to have some great goal, well, not only financial goal, not only financial goal. I'm talking about the financial goal only because there's the word rich. This is why I talk about money too. But this is about everything, because if they really want to change and if they really want to become famous, so fame means, well, a good fame is good only for good people, and good people are developed people. And if they are not going to be developed, then, well, what's the need for them to change their current situation, right? Of course, it is unpleasant and hard, But if they actually know where to go, if they don't see where they go, then it is useless for them to try to go. To go blind means going and coming nowhere. So they surely need their their wish, even if it's sort of unrealistic, because from unrealistic wishes, the realistic ones are pretty easily worked out, usually, usually. And even if it's not that easy, it is still always possible. That's just what I want to say. And so let's move forward. So what I'm saying, it's planning. So it's not only about the financial part, so what they want money for and how much they would like to spend and how much would they like to earn and what are the periods. And of course, they think of other things too. Think of other achievements, other wishes, what they want to be, what kind of fame would they like to have, where do they want to live, how do they want to live, and so break it all into small parts, and so make a big, a great goal, even that even may seem sort of unrealistic, but then break it down. So they put it farthest time possible, so to say, and then they subdivide these periods into smaller periods of time and go in their thoughts, they go backwards how it can be achieved. They should learn how to do this themselves. They shouldn't ask someone else. They should learn how to do it themselves. They should understand the techniques of reverse engineering. So then they break those periods into still smaller ones and do this process like with, for example, I like the example of the of the two mirrors, one opposite the other. So the bigger mirror and the smaller mirror is in front of it, and so you see there's like a corridor there, and so each mirror, the reflections of which we see in that corridor is still smaller. So this is how the spirits should be broken into the smaller ones, like this mirror corridor, just like this mirror corridor. I don't know whether or not you like this comparison, but I really do. All right, and so as soon as everything is ready, so the smallest period is found, and the simplest and the smallest action is found. So this is the best plan. But of course, it's well, it requires lots of experience to make such an ideal plan. But it is very useful to know the theory and to apply to it anyways, and to make the best possible plan using the reverse engineering technique. Then the next one. The next thing is, and it is kind of connected with the second point because it is connected. with the action. So what do we put here? Here we put planning, of course, planning, and then voluntarism. Voluntarism. And of course it is an option. Of course it is an option. They might plan something different, but it is an option. First of all, it is changing the environment, and next thing, it is improving the appearance. So you understand that while being a factory worker, they got the appearance of a factory worker. And how can one develop with the appearance of a factory worker, right? No, impossible. So not only inside, but the outside too. And so an option is to apply for a job where they are not paid much but can learn a skill. So this is already not psychological change, but this is practical change. So it's what volunteerism is. So go to some different country and as a means of volunteerism, do some job that is still not well paid, so it would seem that their situation has not changed much, but it will be different because there will be a different skill that they will learn while being at this job. So an option for them is to apply for a job where they're not paid much, but can learn a skill. So this is the point. This is an option. Now we can move on to point 3. And of course, while being at this new job, the appearance will still change because they will be in a different position. And no matter how little they will earn, they will still have some conditions that will help them change themselves. So really point 1 and 2 is totally connected with becoming a different person actually. Now point 3. Now they are ready for a well-paid job. They have changed psychologically, mentally, physically, changed their appearance, got some new skills. They're ready. So they can apply for a new well-paid job. And another thing, so they are getting money, they are getting more money than they got before. And this is how they can start actually saving money for the future, spending on what they need, saving a bit, and one more action because their goal is bigger. So they're not stopping at having their well-paid job because this was not their goal. They wanted to go bigger and higher. And so we are following this scheme and we are following this scheme of these wishes. So parallelly, simultaneously, at the same time with this job, they should still find time for what? For online free activity. So they're paid at their job, but online they already go free. So they already understand what they can do online in order to get money in the future. But first, they start doing it for free, only practicing and mastering their skills, their new skills that they didn't have in the previous time. So they can start online activity for free. Then Then comes the fourth point, and the fourth point is to study business and to start business. So they're already ready for it. They change themselves psychologically. They change themselves physically. They got new skills. They earned some money. They went online. Now they are perfectly ready for actually starting business and starting that. So this is the fourth point. They can study business and they can start business. After they have studied it enough for starting, and as soon as they start their business, everything is ready. Now their road is absolutely open, and then they can unlimitedly and unstoppably grow and scale as long as they're skillful at it. And if they're serious, if they're really serious at points 1, 2, 3, and 4, point 5 is really nothing too difficult for them. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the most difficult thing. And as soon as they're finished with it, there is point 5, and point 5 is life. Point 5 is life, and there they can just do what they are doing confidently, deliberately, consistently, and move still closer to their final destination, to their final goal. That is actually their wish right now. That is their desirable situation. So point 5 is oh point 5 is grow and scale. And so thus what do we have according to the time periods? Now time periods. These are important things to consider. So for the first point, we give 3 months, for example. For the second point, we give 2 years. For the third point, we give 1 year. For the fourth point, we give 1 year, and the fifth point is lifetime. So of course it is up to them to do it much quicker, to do it much quicker. If they want it quicker, it's up to them. It depends only on them and no one else. Of course, but this is just the deepest scheme. So it's the longest that it can take if really they do need time. They can take it. They can go at their own slow pace and do it in 4 years and a half, 4 years and 3 months. 4 years and 3 months to go from a factory worker to a confident businessman. Yeah, it's pretty long. It's pretty long. But you know, this is just optional scheme. This is the longest scheme. This is the prolonged scheme, very deep one. They can go still deeper, but it's up to them to do it quicker. That actually depends on them. The stronger they want it, the quicker they will develop, the quicker they will reach and the quicker they will reach each next stage, so to say. And this is what they have, and this is how they actually solve this situation. So you see, this there is a solution. It seemed like this situation is without a solution, but of course, no situation is without a solution. And so this is a solution for them. Not an easy one, because from that point to the next point, it really seems that it's very far to go. But that actually depends on who they are and why they are in this current position. And so if they're not actually factory workers, if it's only their position, of course it will be much easier for them to go from one point to the next one. Of course it will be easier. And so the better they are, and the better they develop, and the greater their wish is, the quicker they move on to their final destination. And so this is just a picture of success, of a possible success. And so this situation, I think it's perfectly real for anyone. All they have to do is just really make 100% decision and to really want this final destination. Because if they don't want it, they won't be able to make mistake, and they won't be able to fall in between. They won't be able disbelief of their friends or the surroundings. There will be lots of obstacles that are not actually obstacles, but they will become obstacles if you don't really want it and if you don't make 100% decision. So this is one variant. You can give very different variants. I don't know what they are. Still feel free to share your ideas. Share your ideas. And I wish you good luck with reaching your own goals and working out different situations. So I wish you all good luck with that. All the best. Goodbye.